I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a couple of our radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and certainly the staff here at Fairfield Christian Academy that produce and put this program together each and every week. They do a terrific job. And of course, our executive producer, Kelly Roberts with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, lines the guests up, gets questions together. We got great guests this week, and Trena Kohler, Deputy of the Year for this year in the Sheriff's Office. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And you know, you've got a kind of a unique set of circumstances because you're actually married to one of our detectives.
Yes.
Does that, now when you come home, do you guys talk about cases or anything, or do you just kind of put that behind you?
We put that behind us. We try to separate our professional life from our personal life. So
Yeah.
we started that at the beginning of our marriage. So
Right.
we just focus on our family when we're
think-
at home.
Yeah. 2 children.
Yes.
2 girls.
Yes, beautiful.
And you're proud of them.
I am extremely proud of my girls.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you do a good job, and again, congratulations on Deputy of the Year.
Thank you.
You do a lot of different things. You started in what, 93?
Yes, as auxiliary.
Okay.
Yes, 93.
Uh-huh.
And then full time in the beginning of 1996.
Wow. So a lot of time there.
A lot of time.
So what are some of your assignments that you work, Trina?
I started out in the jail division, and then I went from there to DARE program, and then to patrol division.
Okay. Anything you like best?
I love patrol division.
You do?
I love meeting new people, and it's wonderful to have something different happen every day. Not,
Right.
Never 2 days the same.
Now you work first shift.
Yes.
So what's one of the more common things that you might get caught on first shift?
I believe probably the majority would be thefts and burglaries take place mostly during the daytime, and that's our normal calls. There's different calls, but those would be the main 2 that we respond to.
So lots of stuff going on in our county.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
Let me ask you this. So you've been on really kind of a long time now.
Yes.
Veteran officer with your time as an auxiliary of over 20 years.
Yes.
What are some of the big changes you've seen within the community, maybe even within the sheriff's office in that time, Deputy Kohler?
The one thing that I would say that has made an impact for me is when you got laptops in our cruisers. You really updated our office, and that is such a great tool for us to have on patrol division. It allows us to be able to run our own license plates and look for warrants, or just trying to find an address. Not everyone has numbers on their mailboxes,
Right.
and it's such a wonderful tool that I use all the time. And just basically our sheriff's office has provided us with additional training and technology, and I think that's the biggest difference that I've...
Any trends in crime or anything like that as far as you've seen?
I know when I first started, heroin was not a drug of choice at that time, and I noticed in the last 8 years that it is more common, and it's actually probably the #1 drug of choice right now for.
So you see a lot of that out there, and a lot of people involved in that, and also involved in the thefts and those kind of things.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Now, one of your responsibilities, and this is something I'm sure our viewers and listeners probably don't know much about, is junk vehicles that are left on people's property, sometimes abandoned vehicles.
Yes.
And so you take care of that and the registration and different things?
I do. I'm in charge. I work with all of the townships in our county regarding junk vehicles. I also work with the tow companies in our county for abandoned vehicles that are that we tow out of an accident or OMVI or traffic stops. Also, I work with all the junkyard companies in our county. So
is that a big problem?
Not so much now. I think our townships do a great job of staying on top of those. And there was usually springtime is a busy time where people want to get their yards cleaned up and things like that. And our townships do a wonderful job staying on top of that and helping our citizens.
So what is kind of the procedure if there's some vehicle, typically is there what, vehicles that are left on people's property or maybe parked in people's yards and they've been sitting there for months or years and they don't have tags on them or broken down? What's the criteria and how do you resolve those kind of things?
The first thing that they need to do is contact their township that they live in, and I provide a packet for them to fill out, and they will send a certified letter out, and then if it does not get resolved that way, the township contacts me, and then I fill out another packet, and then I'll send another certified letter out. And if it's not resolved that way, then I'll go ahead and pursue charges, criminal charges.
Wow. So are people allowed to have like vehicles on their properties that aren't tagged or anything, or how does that work?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They have to be able to be drivable with valid registration.
Okay. But I would think if they're in somebody's garage and they're just working on them, that's a different story.
That's a different story, yes.
Yeah. Now, you've been involved in some pretty big cases this last year.
I've been a part of them.
Well, it's a whole team effort, isn't it?
It sure is. It is. Our Sergeant Burke, Sergeant Hendershot, they are so encouraging, and
Right.
they challenge us to pursue every lead that comes our way, and they stay after work sometimes and assist us. And Patrol Division this past year has been very successful as far as passing information on to different shifts. I've come in and I found a little piece of paper with a vehicle description or a suspect information or an email, and we've gotten really great at passing
sharing information.
Absolutely. And my coworkers are wonderful, and we're very helpful and encouraging to each other.
Well, tell us about one of those cases that you did.
Well, I had the privilege to work with the Chief of Zanesville and law enforcement in Perry County. And after several phone calls, we were able to have a successful apprehension of 3 suspects that had burglarized homes and businesses and cars from West Virginia to Columbus. And the one thing that I was so grateful for, we were able to recover victims' properties from 3 different agencies, 3 different counties, and able to return their items back to them. And that was very gratifying for me to be a part of.
How many burglaries took place in these areas?
I know within ours, I think we were up to approximately 40, and I'm not for sure about the other.
Huge. That's huge.
I'm not for sure about the other agencies, but I do know that it ranged from West Virginia to Columbus.
So this was a sophisticated burglary ring, right?
It was.
How did they operate?
I'm not for sure all the details. I know that they would break into homes or businesses or cars in different counties, but then they would pawn it, in a different state or
Okay, so
yeah.
it's hard to connect the dots on this.
Right, it was, but by us working together, it was very successful, and it was a great outcome.
You know, you talk about people's homes getting broken into. What are some things that maybe our viewers or listeners would want to do to kind of help protect their homes?
You know, I believe
I mean, you go on a lot of these reports, right?
I do.
Yeah.
And I have children, and I know that, you know, you check your windows. You know, kids open up windows. They don't always lock it. Check your doors.
Right.
That's the number one. It's amazing at how many unlocked doors or windows that we find. And we have great citizens in this county, and they keep an eye out for each other, their neighbors. And they've also been a part of some apprehensions that we've made this past year just by calling in a vehicle description or, you know, a suspicious vehicle in their neighbor's driveway.
Right.
And those are great things to, you know, to have. But basically just paying attention to your doors and newspapers and things like that.
Right.
They look for
a trusted neighbor.
You cannot beat a trusted neighbor.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we got quite a few good neighbors in our county.
Yeah, I'll tell you a secret, and this is kind of funny you'd mentioned that outdoors, and I don't even think Loretta knew about this, but we had company last night, and they left late and everything, and the front door I noticed it wasn't locked to our house, and I think probably everybody's been guilty of that now and then. We say, oh my golly, people leaving their garage door up and going to bed.
Right.
Yeah, see those kind of things.
And when you have kids, you know, they don't pay attention to things like that, and so that'd be probably the number one thing.
Yeah, I think you hit it. Watch those doors, the windows, trusted neighbor, and stopping the newspaper, stopping the mail delivery, and one of our most, and I know you do this every day, is our vacation watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. You know, we're just about out of time. Our guest this week has been Trena Kohler. Our Deputy of the Year, a veteran of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, does a terrific job, nominated by your sergeant.
Yes, sir.
And these, we get a number of nominees every year, and we have an awards committee, and so it certainly speaks volumes about you and the job you've done at the Sheriff's Office. I'm very proud of you. We would like to have you back next week. And we're going to talk about maybe you've had some other cases too, right?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to talk about some other cases and kind of talk about those. And maybe next week we'll talk about what's one of the most memorable calls you have. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit to think about this, and even your experience as a DARE officer. I bet occasionally you've run into some old students, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Well, we're just about out of time. I want to just take a few minutes to certainly thank our viewers and listeners that join us every week, and again, the staff here at Fairfield Christian Academy. If it wasn't for the willingness of Fairfield Christian, we wouldn't be able to put this program on. If you have any questions of me, be sure to give me a call in the office. My number is 740-652-7252. We get a lot of calls. My administrative assistant, Pam Renko, does a terrific job, and we will be glad to try to answer any and all calls that we get within the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. And again, mentioning Kelly Roberts. Kelly is the person behind the scenes that actually lines up the guests, and she's been involved in that for about the last 6 months and really has helped with the program, developing questions, getting guests like Trina and so many other guests on our program. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. Until next week, same time, same place, God bless, and we'll see you right here.
When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.